I have a minor gambling addiction. That's not how you start a video. Recently I've been playing an unhealthy amount of Honkai Star Rail, and it's definitely a fun time. Especially when you lose all your 50/50s for every character you want and instead get an old man twice. God damn it. And what I didn't notice for a long time was that the planet Jarilo VI was heavily influenced by Slavic folklore. Being a Russian immigrant myself, this was very embarrassing. Because I legit recognized one word, which could have been Russian, and that's how this whole fucking video came to be. Everything else was just words I was convinced were mumbo jumbo. So now I'm gonna show you how to pronounce everything, not the American way, and instead how it should have been. And also a little trivia on the sidelines, cause I'm quirky like that. So let's start with the biggest things and work our way down, shall we? The fucking planet is big enough, I reckon. Jarilo VI, or Jarilo VI. You can just say 6 or something, 6 is just a Russian 6. As some of you may know, Russians don't have the American J or R, but instead only the soft Ya and R. We roll our R's. So it's not Jarilo, but Jarila. And something kind of fucky is that most words that end in O and spoken with an A. So it's not Jarilo, but Jarila. Luckily, we don't have to watch the tones of each word like with the Chinese Xianzhou Alliance, where different tone would result in a different word. If you were to pronounce Jarila as Jarila, you'd probably still be understood, only that you sound kinda retarded. The meaning behind Jarila is actually kinda interesting considering the context. The whole planet is covered in fucking ice. Damn! But Jarila was actually the name of the personification of a summer fest, celebrating fertility in mostly South Russian provinces. The Yar in Jarila actually coming from the word Yarovoi, meaning something that came from spring. As far as I know. Some of these words are pretty old and God knows I wouldn't use them in my everyday life. Wouldn't even know how to use them, to be honest. I could now go on the whole monologue on how Yarovoi is actually connected to Yarkast, meaning brilliance or brightness, and how that ties it all together, but I'm not going to. On this planet of spring and happiness is the town which everyone knows and loves, Belobog. This is pronounced Belobog. As in Jarila, the L isn't pronounced in the front of the mouth, but the back, not Belobog, but Belobog. The English pronunciation is actually kinda close. Belobog, Belobog, is just a bit more stretched out in Russian. And we're trying to be as accurate as possible here, aren't we? In this case, Belobog can be translated to white god. Biela meaning white and Bog meaning god, which ties in with the Slavic folklore it's derived from. Belobog is basically the god of luck and happiness in West Slavic folklore, with Chernobog, or black god, being his antithesis. Pretty sure this is supposed to somehow represent the relationship between Belobog and the underground, but fuck do I know. I got this fucking hat on for a reason. Moving on to the characters. And we're gonna start with my favorite one, because fuck character importance. Svarog! Look at this sexy piece of metal ass, with his sharp edges and heart of iron. Why the fuck is he so thick? Damn! Svarog's glorious name is pronounced Svarog. Remember? No American R's. And Russians are kinda simple-minded with our A's. We see an A and we have one way to pronounce it. Ah. There's no A, there's no there's A. And that's it. Because when we see a bear in the wild, that's the only sound we make. Ah. And obviously his name is somehow connected to Slavic folklore. In his case, Svarog is actually the Slavic god of smithing and is often connected to fire. Which makes sense, because in a game, he's made of metal, and metal is processed in a smithy, and he also uses fire as a laser, and The origin of the name Svarog is actually kinda convoluted. And by convoluted, I mean that the Wikipedia entry is 1700 words long, and I'm not gonna read all that. But, as far as I understood it, the Svar part means something along the lines of good, his fire, warmth. And yes, that's all included in those fucking 4 letters apparently. The S part being a Proto-Slavic prefix giving the good, his part. And Var being the Proto-Indo-European word for fire, warmth. Svarog was actually such a big deal that the root Svar from Svarog has established itself in several other modern words, such as svarit, meaning to weld something at high temperatures in Russian, or just Svarog, meaning fire in some dialects. I didn't just know that, to be frank. I had to Google a lot of this cause etymology isn't one of my strong points. In fact, I have trouble pronouncing that word. Next on the list is someone I love just as much. Sampo. And I really wish there was some fancy Russian way to pronounce his name. But it's just Sampo. Again, no A, this time no O at the end, but a simple O. So, Sampo. But fucking, his name isn't even from Russia, but from Finland. So I have no authority over his pronunciation. The only thing I can say is that his name comes from an artifact from Finnish mythology, told to bring luck. And also, it's in the form of a mill. Do with that information what you want. Didn't even know the Finnish had mythology. Moving on to this abomination of a name. Easily the most difficult one on this list. Pelageya Sergeyevna. Don't even know how to help you pronounce it, there's too much going on in that name. But what caught my eye with her name, other than that it's a fucking mouthful, is her last name, which actually shouldn't be a last name. See, Russians have something called a father's name, which is actually a pretty big deal. The children basically take their father's name as a second name and hang a gender-specific suffix at the end. For boys it's vich, and for girls it's vna. As you can see with Piela, her father's actual name would probably be Sergey, so her father's name is Sergeyevna. My father's name is Alexandrovich, because my father was called Alexander. My mother's father's name is Borisovna, because her father was called Boris. See how that works? I'm pretty sure there's no way that someone would have their father's name as an actual last name. And it bugs me since I started this game, and it's irrational, I know, but I can't help it. Inside me there are 2 wolves and one of them is autistic. Next one. Teaching doesn't fit my style, now that I think about it. Bronya. Pretty easy again, just roll the R. Bronya. Like a furry trying to be a cat. Bronya basically just means armor. Anything that can protect your body from something else. I'm sure this is supposed to be poetic or something, like how Bronya is trying to protect the whole of Belobog and is supposed to be the new conscience of the city, but imagine calling your son Helmet. Sounds like you'd need snorkels to eat soup. The rest of the names are luckily as easy as this one and are pretty much just staple Russian names. Like Natasha, pretty much the Russian name for females. Or, and this is one of my favorites, Oleg. Don't know why, but I just like saying his name. Эй, Олег, блядь, ты чё делаешь, а? Ты дохуя бухал, Олег. И это вообще-то... Languages. That's basically it. Hope you learned something. Stop using your credit card when you didn't get the unit you wanted. I won't, but do as I say, not as I do. Bye!